Thanks a lot, Marcus, and thanks for facilitating our webinar today. Good morning to everybody. We're excited that you have joined us this morning. You're going to hear some great news today. As Marcus mentioned, I am Ron Johnson with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and the program and agency I work for assists dislocated workers with the transition to reemployment. A dislocated worker to us is a designation for folks who will be laid off or have been laid off due to no fault of their own. And because of that designation, you're entitled to certain resources to help you become reemployed as quickly as possible. Actually, that's our goal today, to talk to you about what resources can facilitate that reemployment effort. So as Marcus mentioned, I am joined today by experts in the subject matter. Susie Pajera is our partner at the American Job Center in DuPage County, and she's going to speak to employment and training related activities, how to access them, and steer you in the right direction with respect to receiving those services, all at no cost, because we have paid for this program through our federal tax dollars. The technical name is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The Dislocated Worker Program is what Susie Pajera is going to speak to in a second here. Scott Miller is our partner at the United States Department of Labor. He's going to speak to continuing health coverage and important retirement benefit information. One of the best things I like about Scott's department is when you call them, there's a live person to talk to, and they have a myriad of other resources that can help folks with unrelated information. And finally, our keynote speaker today is Fernando Reyna. He's from the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and he's going to provide some important information with respect to unemployment insurance and ideally answer any questions you guys have about that process. So there's actually two ways to access services. So I mentioned our partner, Susie, is in the DuPage County American Job Center, and that's because folks are being laid off in that area. And so everybody on the call is welcome to see Susie Pajera and her group. They do a fantastic job at helping folks transition through a myriad of resources. But because I mentioned earlier, this is a federal program. And if you move to another state or live in Wisconsin or move to California, that there's an American Job Center in every state in the country. You'll take that layoff letter you received from your employer as kind of like a ticket to services. It's not mandatory, it just makes the process easier. And also, you are welcome to go to an American Job Center if you live in a different county and it's closer to where you live. You can access a similar set of resources that Susie Pajera is going to talk about in the county in which you live. Again, Susie and her group in DuPage do a fantastic job at helping folks transition. With that, Susie's going to talk about what those resources are and how to access them. And I'll stop sharing now so that Susie Pajera can share valuable information with you guys.
Good morning, everybody. As I'm getting my screen switched over here. All right, so this is our presentation for you this morning, titled From Layoff to Launch. And I want to spend some time speaking to you about the resources available through workNet DuPage. Ron Johnson has already kindly introduced the team, but here are the team names again. And then Ron already briefly went through what our agenda will be over the next hour or so. And so this is what I want to start talking to you about, are the resources that are available to help you through your job transition and land your next job opportunity. So Ron had mentioned that our funding source is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And because of the now permanent layoffs that are occurring at the Hilton Garden in Oakbrook, you are eligible for these services. These services are free of charge because of the workforce reduction that is occurring. Again, funded through your federal tax dollars. services are free, and also services are available anywhere in the US. So another site that you can go to locate your local American Job Center is the federal site known as Career One Stop. And that website address is careeronestop.org. They have a page where you can just simply enter in your zip code and and find your local American Job Center. But just to reiterate, because you worked for an employer in DuPage County, even if you live outside of DuPage, because you worked for an employer in DuPage, you are still more than welcome to come to DuPage County and engage in services with our office. I do want to note that our office is currently closed to the public. However, we are working with customers virtually. So if you're interested in starting the services, working with a career counselor or a career coach, you are still able to do it. It's just that, again, we're working with clients and customers virtually at this point. So I'm going to start talking about workNet DuPage and who we are and the specific services that we offer. Again, our funding source is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. There are specific programs for workers that have been laid off due to a workforce reduction. We serve entry to executive level job seekers with a variety of services, all with the end goal of being to help you get back to work as soon as possible. Our office is located in Lisle, but again, as I mentioned earlier, we're currently closed to the public due to the pandemic. However, we still are working with customers virtually. And again, just as a reminder, all the services I'm going to speak of are free of charge to you. So here's just a brief listing of the services available at workNet DuPage. And again, all these services are geared with the end result of helping you land that next job opportunity. So we have one-on-one career coaching, job search workshops, funding for occupational training grants. So this may be the opportunity for some of you to go back to school and retrain into a new career pathway. And then in addition to that, we do work with area employers, helping them with their workforce development needs. Some of those services are helping them recruit for positions they currently are hiring for. And so one of our roles at the center is to connect those employers with job seekers that we're working with that would be a good fit for those positions. So the first part of the program that I want to talk to you about are our career services. And I always just like to mention some of the #1 mistakes that job seekers make as they are conducting their job search. And so the first common mistake that job seekers make is that they rely only on one method for looking for a job, and that is submitting applications online and then waiting for a response from that employer. What you need to know is that less than 20% of job seekers are hired through online applications. So how do you become then the 80% that get hired? And this is where another common mistake is made by job seekers, where they neglect their networks. So 80% of job seekers that are hired because they are known candidates. They know somebody that works for the company. They have made and developed a relationship with someone in the human resources department, or they've connected with the hiring manager. But again, what you want to do as you are conducting your job search is to become that known candidate to increase your chances of being hired into that position. #3, don't customize their resume. It really is important that you're customizing your resume or those online applications that you're filling out, that you are having as many or the highest percentage of keyword matches, and that when you're creating your resume or writing your resume, you want to write your resume in achievements and accomplishments, not necessarily as job duties. #4 is that individuals fail to research companies before interviews. it really is important that you research that specific employer that you have an upcoming interview with, so that you can have engaging conversations, ask informative questions, all with the end goal of that you're showing that particular employer that you really are interested in that position that they're interviewing you for. Number 5, let the employers drive the job search. This is really related to number 1 in regards to that you're reacting. So you submit your application and you're waiting for the employer to respond to you. What we always want to see is that job seekers are being proactive, that they're seeking new opportunities, building new relationships, making connections. Again, that networking piece where you're trying to find or make a connection with somebody internally in the company. And then we always recommend that you do not stop actively looking for work until you start your next position. And then this number 6 is probably the most important piece to one's job search. So we say that individuals begin job hunting without an understanding of their skills, strengths, accomplishments, and value in the job market. So everything you do in your job search is built on these 4 bullet points. You can't write your resume without knowing these 4 bullet points. You can't answer interview questions without knowing these four bullet points. And so it's really important that you take the time to work on this foundational piece of your job search. And so if you're really not sure how to do that, we can work with you at workNet page. You can connect with one of our career coaches and work with them one-on-one for job search support. So that job search support will include a career assessment that is all about those 4 bullet points we just talked about. That career coach can also work with you on what we call resume optimization. So that's looking at your resume, helping you write your resume. How can you tweak your resume for those specific jobs that you are applying for? Excuse me. And then in addition to that, you can do mock interviews or interview practice with that career coach as well. So the one-on-one support that's really important to helping you land that next job. In addition to the one-on-one support with a career coach, we do have a variety of workshops that we offer through our Fast Track to a Job and Bootcamp series. And these are the topics that are included in our online workshops. So resume writing, networking tools, conveying your message, which is all about your networking message or your 30-second elevator speech, interview preparation, salary and negotiation, behavioral interviewing. It's really important that you take some time to develop the stories that would be the answers to behavioral interview questions, skills identification, and then how to structure your job search. So all encompassing in regards to workshop offerings to help you have a quick and effective job search that gets you into that next position as soon as possible. So the other side of the program that I want to talk to you about are the WIOA training grants. And so through workNet page, we offer up to $10,000 in funding to upgrade your skills, obtain professional certifications, and maybe in some of your cases, finding a new career pathway. So in regards to the WIOA training grants, specifically those of you that are with us this morning, clearly we do not know how or what the long-term impacts of the pandemic is going to be on the hospitality industry. We don't know when, large groups will be able to gather again, and when that business will come back to pre-COVID levels. So with that said, a WIOA training grant may be the opportunity for you to find a new career. The way that this part of the process works is you would have a career counselor that you would work with on an individual basis, and you're going to sit down and map out a transition plan. So talking about your employment goal. What type of job would you like to land? What do you need to earn to be able to support you and your family? What are your current skills, your current experiences? What is your education level? And as we have this conversation with you, it may be identified for you to actually retrain into a new career. Okay, so mapping out that career transition plan. If you are approved for a WIOA training grant, that grant will pay for your tuition, books, fees, equipment, again, up to $10,000. And then a couple other benefits to you is that you can receive your unemployment insurance benefits while you were going to school full-time. And instead of doing your bi-weekly certification that you're looking for a job, you would certify that you're attending your classes and you're still able to receive your unemployment insurance benefits while you are being funded, while your training is being funded through a WIOA grant. And then please remember that all these services are free of charge, so there's no need to pay back the money. Your obligation back to the program is that you obtain full-time employment, and once you find that next job, that you share that information with us. That is what allows this program to continue on year to year. It allows us to get the funding to help the next job seeker down the road. A couple important notes to mention in regards to approval for training is that training approval is based on your need and suitability. But again, as I mentioned, at this point in time, we don't really know the long-term impacts on the hospitality industry. So this may be the opportunity for you to retrain into a new career path. And then the other thing that you need to know is that assuming you're eligible for unemployment insurance benefits, if you're looking at a long-term training program that would go beyond what you could receive in unemployment, the WIOA funding or the WIOA training program does not automatically extend those benefits. Right? Any questions about the programs that I've spoke about so far? Okay, so moving along. So I want to just talk briefly about the 4 major industries that we train in. We have training opportunities in manufacturing, information technology, supply chain, logistics, and then healthcare information, or excuse me, healthcare industry. So here is a quick list of training programs, the popular training programs in healthcare. And did a question come in? I can't see my chat box.
The person, if you don't mind, Susie, so it says, how do I get in contact with somebody about the grant assist?
Okay, I will talk about that in a few minutes. My apologies. So Ron and Marcus, I can't pull my chat box up. I don't know why I can't pull it up, but I'm not able to at this time. But
no problem. I can help you out if there are any questions.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I will talk in a few minutes about how you can connect with the career counselor to get started. So here's just a quick listing of the popular programs in the healthcare industry. Here are popular programs in information technology. I do want to note that these certifications that you are seeing, some of them are very specific, so just to kind of group them for you. Coming out of the hospitality industry, we assume that you have great customer service skills, and so something you may want to think about, especially if you like working with computers and you have an interest going into this area, would be taking, say, the CompTIA certification. This would be where you would get training to be able to work on an IT help desk or help support desk. And so that is an entry-level position going into the IT arena. But again, coming out of hospitality, there's, you have great customer service skills, and this may be something that would be of interest to you. Additional certifications would be cloud-based technology, cybersecurity, big data or data management, data analysis. There's also e-commerce and then web design as well. Manufacturing, CNC, Swiss CNC, welding, industrial maintenance, mechanic, technician. I just want to note that the industrial maintenance mechanic tech program at College of DuPage, popular program, but this is really a high in demand position right now with a great starting wage. And then also under manufacturing would be quality control. Transportation, distribution, and logistics. This covers truck driving, school, so if someone has an interest in getting their CDL, automotive technology, and then supply chain planning or supply chain management falls under this industry as well. So some additional opportunities that don't necessarily are kind of outside of those industries. If I have piqued your interest about going back to school, you can go to illinoisworknet.com. Ron Johnson's already mentioned this website. It is the state website that currently holds the list of WIOA approved training programs and WIOA approved training providers. So a couple things you need to know about all WIOA funding for schools and programs. They do need to meet some requirements in order to receive funding. And so programs have to be in a high demand occupation. That is for your benefit as a job seeker. We want to make sure that the training opportunities that are being provided are going to have, are going to be in demand occupations or industries where there is going to be projected growth over the next 10 years or so. And so there will be jobs out there once you successfully complete that training program. Schools have to be approved as well, and that is for your benefit too as a job seeker. We want to make sure that those schools are legitimate and that they're offering a valuable education and some type of industry credential that employers recognize is valuable to have. So if you go to Illinois WorkNet, again, you can research training programs, you can research schools. And just as a quick note, all community colleges are listed there. So if there's, a local community college that you're thinking about taking some courses at, they're most likely there. There's also a variety of private vocational and technical schools, along with some universities as well. But I always recommend if you're thinking about going back to school, going on to Illinois WorkNet is a great first step to do some research. So training is not where our services end. As I had mentioned earlier, the whole purpose of the WIOA funding is to help you land your next job. And so if you go through a training program, you would then get connected with one of our career coaches for that continued job search support until you land that next job. So just a recap of the services that I spoke about that are available at WorkNet DuPage, that we do customized career transition plans. You'll work with a career counselor one-on-one. That the services are free of charge. There's no cost to you. You're eligible for the services based on the layoff event occurring at Hilton Garden Inn in Oakbrook. That we fund professional certifications and that we also provide those job search support services, and that all the staff here at WorkNet DuPage provide genuine support. We are here in your corner supporting you until you land that next job opportunity. Here are a couple success stories that we've had from other layoff events that we have worked with. This is Susan from Parsons. She went through a program at College of DuPage, the office technology program. She's now working as an admin assistant. She found the program to be very beneficial to her as she went through her transition. Here's another story of one of the workers that was laid off from General Mills, went through the physical therapy assistant program. Is now working in the healthcare industry. So let us help launch your career. And how to get started. So get started, what we're asking is that if you could please email me directly. So if you want to take a screenshot of this picture so that you have my contact information. Again, I'm Susie Pajera. I'm with WorkNet DuPage. I actually work for DuPage County Workforce Development Division. But please send me an email with your name, your personal phone number. Also include that you're a Hilton Garden Inn employee, just so that I know how to get you quickly connected to a career counselor or a career coach in our office. And then step 2, if you have any questions, certainly I understand that I've already provided a lot of information. There is my direct phone line and my email address. So with that said, before I turn it over to Scott, I'll just mention a couple other things. If you're eager to start, again, please email me. You can also visit our website. This is what our website looks like, worknetdupage.org. And once you get onto our website, you can go onto the Job Seekers tab, look around at the services there. One of the services that we offer to everyone is our virtual job club. And so we have a job club presentation coming up on Friday, September 18th. And we are bringing in 2 presenters from College of DuPage from their Career Services Department to talk about your branding or connecting your branding on a cover letter. So this session on September 18th will be about cover letters, the importance of cover letters, how to write a cover letter. But this is a free virtual workshop that we provide to all job seekers, and you can register to attend that session by going onto the website. Also, I would recommend for you to just go ahead and check out the website, check out our Who's Hiring page to learn about job opportunities where DuPage County employers are hiring for currently. And then you can also get started for services on the website. But I would ask that you give me an email first so that I can get you connected with one of our career counselors as soon as possible. So with that said, that's my presentation to talk about the resources that are in place to help you with your job transition, to help you land your next position, talking about those training opportunities. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer for you?
I think you basically answered them all. I'm going to be emailing you shortly. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. So just as a quick reminder, please give me an email or send me an email so that I can get you connected into services. And with that said, thank you for your time. Best of luck to all of you. And with that said, I will go ahead and turn it over to Scott Miller to start his presentation.
Thank you, Susie, and good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Miller. I'm a senior benefits advisor with, with the U.S. Department of Labor. Specifically within the U.S. Department of Labor, I'm with the Employee Benefits Security Administration, and we oversee the laws that apply to private sector employers that sponsor benefit plans such as health insurance and retirement plans. And because of that, we'll speak at events like this to discuss what your rights are to either maintaining healthcare coverage following a job loss, obtaining new healthcare coverage following a job loss, and we'll also touch on some information in regards to retirement plans. Now, it's my understanding that the insurance with Hilton Garden Inn is going to end on September 19th, which is 10 days from now. So I will use that basis for my presentation. I'm going to specifically address 3 main federal laws that apply to health insurance coverage. I'll also touch on a few programs within the state of Illinois, and I'll provide some information on a few programs in DuPage County. And then I'll conclude my portion of the presentation just talking a little bit about retirement plans, specifically 401k plans. Susie is going to be controlling the presentation for me, so do keep that in mind. Thank you very much, Susie. The first option that we are going to talk about today is COBRA. COBRA will allow you to stay on Hilton Garden Inn's health insurance plan for up to 18 months when the qualifying event is a termination of employment. If by chance you or one of your family members have been deemed disabled by Social Security you can qualify for an additional 11 months of COBRA for a total of 29 months. If you are in the situation where you or one of your family members has been deemed disabled, please reach out to me so I can go over more of the specifics as to how this 11-month extension works, as there are some time-sensitive issues with requesting this. Now, the nice thing about COBRA is that you do get to stay on the employer's plan. The downside to COBRA has to do with the costs associated with it. That is because when you're on COBRA, you pay the full amount of the premiums, meaning you're paying the portion that had been deducted out of your paychecks while you were working, plus the portion that the employer was contributing on your behalf, and they can also charge a 2% administrative fee. So COBRA can be expensive, and when you find out what those premiums cost, you may suffer sticker shock because we don't always realize just how much our employers have been contributing towards our insurance the entire time. Now, there is a formal election process to get onto COBRA. The employer or the plan has 44 days to mail you out an election notice from the day that your insurance benefits end. So they would have 44 days to send this to you from when your insurance ends on September 19th. You then get 60 days to decide whether or not you want to take the COBRA coverage. And from the day you elect COBRA, you get an additional 45 days to make your first payment. Keep in mind that the coverage will not be reinstated until you both elect and pay. So if you know you want the COBRA coverage, it's in your best interest to elect and pay as soon as possible. Now, during the election process, you technically don't have insurance coverage. However, it does end up being retroactive coverage. So as the fourth bullet point indicates, any outstanding claims or out-of-pocket expenses that you incur will be reimbursed and will be taken care of by the plan. So for example, let's say on September 20th, you go to the pharmacy to try to fill a prescription. The pharmacy is going to show your insurance as being terminated on the 19th. You would want to let the pharmacy know that you're on your COBRA election period, and it's possible that they will just charge you your regular copay amount and bill your insurance at a later date. Alternatively, they may require you to pay the out-of-pocket expense for that prescription. If that's the case, just make sure that you hold on to that receipt, and then you would submit that receipt to the health plan once the coverage has been reinstated, so that out-of-pocket expense is reimbursed to you. Similar situation if you have to go to the doctor or you have to go to the hospital, just let the medical provider know that you're on your COBRA election period. In no event should anybody be refused medical treatment because of this. The medical provider should be very understanding, knowing that you will ultimately have the COBRA coverage. Now, I do just want to point out a few extra tidbits that aren't referenced on the slide, just kind of some tips that may be beneficial to you. One of the ways that you can save some money on COBRA, and this is a situation where you may currently have family coverage with Hilton Garden Inn, but just one of your family members really needs the health insurance because he or she takes expensive prescriptions, or maybe you have a surgery that's lined up in the next couple weeks, or you're dealing with physical therapy or something like that. You can elect COBRA for just one family member, pay the single rate of the premiums rather than pay the family rate. And it doesn't just have to be you as the covered employee. It's any one of your beneficiaries can choose to have their own individual COBRA. That way, you're reducing the costs by getting the COBRA for the individual that needs it while just paying the single rate rather than the family rate. The other family members can get health insurance at some of the other options that I will address. Secondly, I quickly want to talk about how COBRA and Medicare interact. And these are based on Medicare secondary payer rules. When somebody is employed and they're on Medicare, their employer's insurance is primary and their Medicare is secondary. However, when you go on to COBRA, the coordination of benefits flips. Medicare becomes primary, COBRA becomes secondary. And it's important to point this out because some individuals will presume that the employer insurance through COBRA will be primary. They won't enroll in Medicare Part B, and by not enrolling in Medicare Part B, you don't end up having primary insurance. If you don't have primary insurance with Medicare Part B, COBRA is not going to be paying as secondary. If anybody does need any assistance with signing up for Medicare, the state of Illinois has a program called the Senior Health Insurance Program, or SHIP, that provides counselors that can assist you with Medicare. After the conclusion of my presentation, I will put their contact information in the chat box. Finally, one of the other points I'd like to make has to do with the election process. As I had indicated, they have 44 days to send you the notice, you have 60 days to elect, and then 45 days to make your first payment. Well, if you already have another job lined up that's going to be providing insurance benefits to you shortly, what you may do is elect by the end of the 60 days. And then if by the time, let's say, you're now covered under your new employer's plan, you didn't use the insurance for any reason, you may choose, obviously to not make that premium payment. Why pay for something that you didn't need? However, if you did end up needing the COBRA insurance because you had to go to the ER or something like that, you still would have the ability to elect COBRA. Coverage would be retroactive and you could get that insurance that you need. So those are just a few tips with COBRA. We're now going to turn our attention to the second option under federal law, which is HIPAA special enrollment. Now this applies if you're married, if your spouse is employed and your spouse's employer provides a health insurance plan, or you're under the age of 26 and your parents' employer provides insurance, you have the right to jump onto their plan without having to wait for that plan's open enrollment season. The key to special enrollment is that your spouse or your parent has to make that request within 30 days of when you lose your insurance coverage. So again, it would be 30 days from September 19th. That plan then has to cover you no later than the first day of the month following the month that you make that request. So obviously you would want to make sure that your spouse or your parent makes that request by the end of this month so that your coverage would begin on October 1st. Now, the last bullet point on this is going to apply if somebody is getting a severance. We haven't been advised whether or not Hilton Garden Inns is providing a severance and whether it applies to health insurance. Some employers, based on a severance package, will pay a portion of their employees' premiums. If this does apply to your situation, it's important to note that if you do take COBRA for a period of time where the employer is paying for it based on a severance, at the time that the employer stops subsidizing the COBRA, that is technically not a life event under HIPAA. So if you wanted to take that reduced COBRA with a severance and then potentially jump onto a spouse's plan, it's possible that that spouse's employer or parent's employer's plan may decline your request because, again, that's technically not a life event. It's possible that they would allow you to do it. I certainly would make the request. If they say that they will, make sure you get it in writing, such as with an email. But I just want you to be aware that it's technically not a life event under HIPAA at the time an employer stops subsidizing COBRA. And Susie, if you could quickly go back to the COBRA slide so I can add one more wrinkle. Based on the COVID-19 pandemic, our agency, along with the IRS, has issued some guidance that has actually extended the time frames for making the initial election for COBRA, making the initial payment, and utilizing HIPAA special enrollment. So again, the initial election for COBRA is 60 days. First payment is 45 days from the election, and then you have 30 days to elect HIPAA special enrollment. The way that the extension works that we issued is that based on the COVID-19 pandemic, a national emergency was declared on March 1st of this year. We then used the term outbreak period. And the outbreak period is defined as beginning March 1st, and it ends 60 days after the end of the national emergency or at a date that our agencies determine. Now, this outbreak period is still ongoing. And what we've said is that during the outbreak period, an employer cannot use any days within the outbreak period to count towards your 60 days to elect COBRA, your 45 days to make your first payment, or the 30 days to use HIPAA special enrollment. So what does this mean for you? It means that you have even a longer period of time to either elect and pay for COBRA or to utilize HIPAA special enrollment. Just keep in mind, like I said earlier, the longer you wait to elect and pay for COBRA, the longer it takes for your insurance to be reinstated retroactively. And the longer it takes, potentially the more months of premiums you're going to have to pay. With HIPAA special enrollment, that's prospective coverage. So the longer you wait to utilize HIPAA special enrollment, the longer it'll take for you to join your spouse's or potentially your parents' employer's health plan. So do keep that in mind. If you have any questions, again, as to how this extension works, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So the third option that we're going to talk about under federal law is through the Affordable Care Act. Now, each state has its own marketplace where you can shop for insurance coverage. Normally, the marketplace will do their enrollment where they'll give you up to 60 days before your insurance ends to start the enrollment, so you're currently within that window, up to 60 days after your insurance ends to enroll. Unlike COBRA, the marketplace is not retroactive, and my understanding is you need to enroll by the 15th of the month for your coverage to begin the 1st of the following month. So if you know that you want your marketplace coverage to begin October 1st, just make sure you enroll in the marketplace by September 15th. Another thing to point out is similar to the extensions I referenced with COBRA and HIPAA, FEMA has issued an extension as well with the marketplace. And they've basically stated that if you've had some type of life event where you've lost your insurance after January 1st of this year, you can pretty much enroll at any time on the marketplace. So you're not going to be hindered by the 60-day rule. However, this should obviously not be a problem with you guys, as your coverage is going to end on September 19th. So you clearly have time to enroll in the marketplace. Now, when you contact the marketplace, they also will screen you to see if you qualify for Medicaid. And there are numerous options for health insurance coverage within the marketplace. Different types of plans, different networks of doctors, deductibles, co-pays. They basically have 4 tiers of coverage within the marketplace. They have platinum, gold, silver, bronze. I'm going to mention a benefit that applies to a silver plan in a couple minutes, so do keep that in mind. And then as the final bullet point indicates, and this goes back to the severance that we talked about earlier, if you are getting a severance, unlike HIPAA special enrollment, my understanding is the marketplace in the state of Illinois will allow you to enroll in the marketplace at the time the employer stops any type of severance towards COBRA. So you could take reduced COBRA if that's offered and then jump onto the marketplace. So now you may be asking, well, how do I contact the marketplace? We have the contact information for you right here. You have the main, and it's called Get Covered Illinois in the state of Illinois. So you have their main number, you have their website. We've also included the contact information for Robin Lavender. She is an Affordable Care Act navigator with the DuPage County Health Department. She is an excellent resource for all things marketplace. If you're at all interested in the marketplace, I would suggest giving her a call or sending her an email. If by chance you live outside the state of Illinois or you're moving outside the state of Illinois, you can contact the toll-free number at the bottom of the screen there, or go on the healthcare.gov website to get transferred to your local marketplace. I do also want to mention a couple other programs through the state of Illinois. One is called Illinois All Kids, and this applies if you have dependent children under the age of 18. There is an income-based program that can provide health insurance benefits to those dependents. I will include the contact information for them as well in the chat box after the conclusion of my presentation. And then also there is a program in the state of Illinois called Veterans Cares, and it provides low-cost monthly insurance benefits to veterans. I'll also include their contact information as well. Now to conclude the health plan portion, we have a few options within the DuPage County Health Department. The first is Access DuPage, and this provides insurance to individuals who otherwise don't qualify for health benefits through a network of doctors' offices, pharmacies, and hospitals in DuPage County. There's also DuPage Dispensary of Hope, which is a pharmacy program that helps low-income and uninsured individuals get free medications with a prescription from a doctor. And finally, we have Silver Access DuPage. I had mentioned those 4 tiers of coverage within the marketplace. If you end up choosing a silver level plan, you could potentially qualify for up to $150 per member per month in premium assistance from Silver Access DuPage. And this is also an income-based program. If you're at all interested in these programs, please go on the website accessdupage.org or call the number that's listed on the screen. So now we're going to turn our attention to retirement plan matters. I'm going to use a 401k plan as the basis of our discussion simply because that is the most common retirement plan that employers provide. And I'm going to presume that Hilton Garden Inn provides a 401k plan to its employees. Now, shortly after your employment ends and you're no longer considered to be an employee, you have three options for what to do with your 401k account. The first option is to take a straight distribution, meaning that the plan is going to send you a check in your name that you're going to deposit in your checking or your savings account, or that there's going to be an electronic funds transfer that's going to go into your checking or your savings account. If you take a straight distribution, the plan automatically will take 20% right off the top for a tax withholding. Also, if you're under the age of 59 and a half, you may be subject to an additional 10% tax penalty. Now, this additional 10% is not taken right off the top. It gets adjusted when you'll file your taxes the following year. There are a couple exceptions to this additional 10% penalty. I believe one has to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you've lost your job as a result of that, you may qualify for that exception to this penalty. This would be something to inquire with the financial institution that holds your account. It's also important to note that if you do take a straight distribution, as Fernando is probably going to reference, it can affect your unemployment benefits in the week in which you receive that distribution. So please keep that in mind. The second option with a 401k plan is to do a rollover. What this means is that you roll over your account into either your next employer's plan, or you set up your own IRA with a bank or another financial institution and roll your account into there. There are no tax consequences whatsoever with a rollover, and it has no negative impact on your unemployment benefits. Finally, the third option is just to leave the account where it is. You may be fully satisfied with the financial institution that's holding your money. You may be satisfied with the investment options and just think to yourself, I'm just going to leave it here for the time being. If you do that, just make sure, and I cannot stress this enough, that the plan has both your current mailing address and your current personal email address. You should be receiving information from the plan on an annual basis. And one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of companies are going towards electronic disclosures nowadays. So if you don't have an up-to-date email address, you might not be getting that information. If you would prefer to have the plan send you information via regular mail, make sure to contact them and opt out of electronic disclosure. But you can absolutely leave your account with the plan. The IRS has indicated as long as your account balance is over $5,000, you can leave it with the plan. The only time they can force you out is if your balance is under $5,000 or the plan is being terminated. So again, just make sure they know how to reach you. If anybody needs any assistance whatsoever in contacting their plan, I can certainly help you facilitate either a distribution or a rollover. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me, send me an email, or give me a call. My contact information should be on the final slide of today's presentation. With that said, that concludes my portion of the presentation. We can open it up for questions for about a minute or so before I turn it over to Fernando for unemployment. And Susie, thank you for controlling the slides.
You're very welcome, Scott.
All right, well, again, if anything comes up, even if it's not based on this layoff, but you have any questions about a future employer's benefits, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'll help you out however I can. With that, I thank you again so much for your time today. I wish you the best of luck. Stay safe, and I'm now going to turn it over to Fernando for unemployment. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Can you hear me correctly, everyone? Susie, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Fernando.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so my name is Fernando Reyna. I work for the Illinois Department of Employment Security. I am currently at the North Aurora office, and what I'm going to be talking to you about today is applying for unemployment benefits, and what are the steps and what are some of the additional benefits that are being allocated throughout this pandemic, as well as what are some of the problems that some individuals sometimes run into when they're filing for unemployment benefits. I am led to believe that most of you are already receiving unemployment benefits, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a quick refresher as to how to apply for unemployment benefits. So when you apply for unemployment benefits, traditionally, when we were all open for business, people would sometimes come to the local office to file their unemployment claim, or they would call our customer service number to apply, or they would log online. As of now, we are encouraging everyone to file their claim online because all of our offices are closed for the time being. So if you are trying to file for unemployment benefits, I would encourage you to go to our website at www.ides.illinois.gov. And once you file your claim on our website, you will see the picture that is on your screen right now. We would want you to click on that icon that says File an Unemployment Claim. Once you click on that, you should be taken over to another screen where it will ask you to begin your login. Now, because right now there is an enormous amount of individuals that are applying for unemployment benefits, we ask that individuals follow the schedule that has been posted on our website for you to file your claim. If your last names begin with the letters A through M, we encourage you to file your claims on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. If your last names begin with the letters N through Z, we encourage you to file on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay, Saturdays will be available for anyone to file their claim that did not have enough time to file their claim during their designated days. Online filing, as well as certifications, sometimes will not be available every night after 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. for daily claims processing and for maintenance. So that is just a reminder there if people are trying to file their claim late in the day, just be mindful that it's because we're processing claims or we're doing maintenance. Okay. Same thing for the call center. If you decide to call the call center, you would also be asked to file the same procedure. Last names beginning through A through M will be asked to call on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 7:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. in the evening. Last names beginning with N through Z will be asked to call on Mondays, Wednesdays between 7:30 and 6 p.m. And of course, Friday will be available for anyone that was not able to file their claim during their designated day. Okay. So if you are registering online, this would be the screen that would show that you need to register for unemployment benefits. What you would need to do if you have registered before, more than likely you already have a username, then I encourage you for you to click on where it says forgot username and password. If this is the first time that you are registering for unemployment benefits, you must click on where it says register. Once you click on registered, you would be asked a series of questions so we can create a user ID and to create a password. One of the things that we would ask that you have handy is either your state ID or your driver's license. We ask that because that's the way we verify your identity. Okay, so you need to have the number that's on either your state ID or your driver's license to start the process. Once you do that, you will enter all your information. You are required to enter the weight that is listed on the driver's license or state ID. If you have an out-of-state ID or driver's license and it does not have a weight, you still have to enter 0. Okay, you cannot leave that portion blank. You must enter a value there. Okay, once you complete that portion, you will receive username and password, and you will begin to answer the questions. When you file for your unemployment benefits, we ask that you provide us employment history for the last 18 months. So that's any and all jobs that you've had during the last 18 months. For example, if you have 2 jobs, you have a full-time job and you have a part-time job on the weekend, but you get laid off from your full-time, you still have to let us know about that part-time job on the weekend. Okay? It's for all jobs. any employment that you've had during the last 18 months, you must report it on your unemployment claim. Okay? Once you file your unemployment claim, you should receive a letter from us, and normally 3 to 5 business days. However, with the amount of people that are applying for unemployment benefits, that sometimes gets extended to about 7 business days. Once you receive your letter, you will receive a letter that states that is titled UI Finding Letter. On that UI Finding Letter, it will have information regarding to your claim. At the very top, it'll give you a claimant ID. The claimant ID is the number that we give you that identifies you. We don't use Social Security number when we send information out to you. We will always use a claimant ID. If you ever need to contact us for whatever reason, we always ask if you have your claimant ID. That's how we know that we're talking to the individual that is named on that document. Okay. Other bits of information that are important at the center left will be whether or not you have a dependent. Okay. What type of payment method are you using to receive your benefits? Who was your last employer, and what was the reason why you were separated from employment? That is always very important to view, because some people sometimes they miss they may click incorrectly on something, and it may have some wrong information. So if you were laid off from company ABC, but you have last employer XYZ, then there's an issue with your claim, and you should contact your local office as soon as possible to let them know. Okay. If all of that is correct, you would then want to look at the bottom of the page. Well, I'm sorry, take that back. The other bits of information that is important on there, it'll tell you when your biweekly certification is. Okay, based on the Social Security number, on the last digit of your Social Security number, you are designated a day to certify for benefits. It will be either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Okay, you are to begin certifying on the date that is listed right across from that. So where it says your first certification date, that's the first date you start certifying, and it'll either fall on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It is your responsibility to keep track of the days you need to certify. A few years ago, we were able to send out a weekly reminder. We were able to mail out a weekly reminder letting you know when was your next day to certify. We are not doing that anymore. It is now the responsibility of the claimant to maintain a record of all the days of when they're supposed to certify. Okay? If for whatever reason you missed calling on your certification day, let's say, for example, you missed certifying yesterday. Okay? So then you're going to say, well, what date do I certify? Well, if Tuesday was your certification day, Thursday and Friday of that week is your makeup day. Okay? You can certify for benefits in either one of those 2 dates if you miss your date. Okay? Below that, there will be a section concerning your monetary determination. Now, your monetary determination, it tells us what you're eligible to receive. Since the weekly benefit amount is the amount that you would receive in benefit form, it is based on the wages that you've had during the last 15 months. Okay, so if you file your claim on July 5th of 2015, your benefit year begins July 5th, 2015, and will not expire until July 4th of 2016. That means that within that time frame, you are eligible to receive 26 weeks of regular unemployment benefits. You can stop and start it as many times as you would like, as long as you have a balance. Okay? Right below that talks about the qualifying period, quarters, and wage period. Okay? It tells you the time frame that we were looking at to determine what your weekly benefit amount will be. On the example that's on the screen, it says that it started on the second quarter of 2014 and it ended the first quarter of 2015. So that was the time frame that we were looking at to determine what you will be receiving for benefits. Okay? A lot of times individuals will ask, well, I used to work at General Motors back in 2010. Can I use those wages for unemployment benefits? If you did not work for them during the last 15 months, then it's not going to show up. okay, and you're not going to be able to use those wages. Okay, so below that, it tells you what your weekly benefit amount will be. On the example on the screen, it says that their weekly benefit amount is $426. They do not have a dependent allowance. Therefore, their benefit amount per week is $426. Okay, and that's what they're eligible to receive. Okay, as of right now, the maximum amount that you can receive for benefits with no dependents is $484. Okay, if you have a non-working spouse as a dependent, the most you can receive is $577. Okay, if you have a child that's 17 and under, the most you can receive is $669. Okay, so even if you have 3 children and they're all 3 of them are under the age of 18, they're 17 and under, you still could only receive $669. Okay, it does not multiply based on the amount of dependents that you have. Let's say you have both a dependent, a non-working spouse, and a child under the age of 17. I mean, under the age of 18. At that point, you have to choose which one you would rather have as a dependent. Normally, you receive a little bit more for having a child as a dependent as opposed to your spouse. So that is just something to keep in mind when you're filing your claim. Okay. Okay. To receive benefits, you have to certify. You have to certify every 2 weeks. Although the amount is called weekly benefit amount, you are paid bi-weekly. Okay. Your date to certify is listed on the UI finding letter. You have to be able and available and actively seeking work in order for you to receive benefits. If you have a return to work date, some individuals like, well, I'm not available for work because I have a return to work date. You still have to indicate that you are available for work, because let's say that employer changes their mind and says, well, we want you to come back to work tomorrow. Are you going to be available for work? Okay, if you are available for work, then yes, you will receive benefits. If you say, no, I'm not going to be available because I was told I'm not going to be returned to work until December. Well, now you've created an issue, and you probably will not receive those benefits for that week. Okay. There's a link on our website that shows you what type of questions you're going to be asked, and there's a slide a few down that will tell you when to certify. Okay. Certifying for benefits is done in 2 methods. One is online, and the other one is by phone. So if you wanted to do it online, you would go back to our website at www.ides.illinois.gov, and you will click on the second picture where it says certify for benefits. Okay. Once you click on that page, you're going to log in, and they're going to ask you the questions. And these are the questions that they'll ask you. Okay. Have you received or will you receive holiday pay during the period of Sunday through Saturday? Did you work during the period of Sunday through Saturday? Has your dependency status changed during the certification period? Now, if you had no dependent on your claim and you had a child within those 2 weeks, then yes, your dependency status has changed, right? You said you should indicate yes for that. But if, let's say, for example, that you already have a dependent on your claim and you have an additional child, okay, at that point, there is no dependency change because you already have established a dependent on your claim. So you can answer no to that question, okay? The next question was, are you able and available to work each day during your normal work week? Okay, again, this goes back to if your job called you to say, hey, can you return to work the following day? Are you available? Okay, the answer is yes, then that answer would be yes for that question. Okay, did you actively look for work? You would answer yes. If you, and the time that you should answer no to that is, let's say, for example, that you become ill and you're under a doctor's care and you're like, no, my doctor said I should take some time to rest, I'm not available for work. Or if you're on vacation. If you're on vacation, chances are you're not looking for work. So the answer to that question would be no. Okay. The next question is, are you receiving or have you applied for a primary Social Security benefits? At this point, Social Security is not a disqualifying income, so if you answer yes to that, it will not affect your unemployment benefits. For the next question, other than Social Security, are you receiving or have you applied for a retirement or disability pension? This is important. If you are receiving a pension from an employer in your work history, then you should indicate yes. If we have not processed that information, then chances are that's going to hold up your payments. So I would suggest that when you're filing your unemployment benefit, it's going to ask you a question: are you receiving a pension other than Social Security? If you answered yes, it's going to give you a questionnaire for you to answer, okay? And you may have to supply the local office with information of when that payment was started and who's paying for it, okay? The next question, are you attending school or are you receiving training? This pertains also to the WIOA question, okay? If you are receiving WIOA approved training, okay, and you've already told us that you are, and we've received notification from the service provider that is administering your training, then for that question you have to answer yes, okay? Are you receiving workman's compensation? If you were injured on the job, chances are you're under a doctor's care and you haven't been released to return to work. You answer yes to that, then your benefits will be on hold, okay? The next question, has your phone number changed? If the answer is yes to that, then the system will ask you to update your information, okay? The next question is, has your mailing address changed? If you answer yes to that, the system will ask you to contact the local office to update your mailing address, okay? Okay, so let's say that you decide to pick up a part-time job, okay, and you're certifying for benefits. The way that that affects your unemployment is based on your weekly benefit amount, okay? So let's say, for example, that your weekly benefit amount is $400, right? And if you went and you earn less than 50%, in this example, let's say you earn $190, right? And this is before taxes. So this is in gross wages, you earned $190. Since it's less than half of your weekly benefit amount of $400, you'll still receive the $400, okay? And it does not affect your unemployment. But let's say that it's more than 50%, okay? Let's say that it's $210, okay? That's $10 more than 50%, right? Because 50% of 400 is 200. So if it's 210, then it's $10 over. So $10 will be deducted from the 400 and you will receive $390, okay? Now let's say that you earned more than your weekly benefit amount. Let's say that you earned $500. So at $500, you would be considered gainfully employed and you will not be eligible to receive benefits for that week, okay? So let's say you picked up a couple of extra hours during that week and you were able to make over your weekly benefit amount. When you certify for that week, as long as you report your wages correctly, the system will ask you if you're still working for the week that you're certifying, okay, or the following week. If you answer that yes, but it's less than, it'll ask you to open an additional claim, okay? A lot of people tend to hang up after that point, or they tend not to bother staying until the very end if they're doing it over the phone or if they're doing it online. But I recommend that you stay on the phone if you're certifying over the phone, and you stay online until the very end, because there will be a screen that says, would you like to file an additional claim? Okay, so if that does happen, you made over your weekly benefit amount, but then the following week you make less, file an additional claim, not a reopen. Okay, because a reopen is basically saying, I just want to start my unemployment again from this day on, and nothing has changed. Okay, what you need to file is an additional claim. Okay. Okay, after you certify, you should receive. I'm sorry. Once you have completed your claim, at the very end, you will receive a confirmation date telling you when you filed your claim if you're doing it online. and it'll also give you a username for Illinois Job Link. Illinois Job Link is the second part of the eligibility process that you need to collect unemployment. I will go a little bit further. There's a couple of slides a little bit further down that I will talk about Illinois Job Link and why it is a requirement. But after that, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the additional benefits that are being paid, that were being paid because of the pandemic. A few months ago, they were able to pass the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, FPUC. It was stated that it was being an additional $600 for individuals that were affected by the pandemic. So everybody that was receiving unemployment during that time frame was receiving an additional $600. Unfortunately, those benefits ended as of July 25th. Okay, as of right now, there has not been another federal stimulus that has been approved. Okay, I know it says under 824, but it's as of 9/9, there has not been another one that has been approved. Okay, so as of right now, nobody else is receiving that. Okay, in addition to the FPUC, the state also added another extension because of the unemployment rate in Illinois was high. Okay, so that means that in addition to the 26 weeks of benefit that you were receiving, you are now receiving an additional 20 weeks of state extended benefits. Okay, so as of right now, individuals that have exhausted their regular 26 weeks, in addition to the 13 weeks of the federal pandemic, okay, are going to receive an additional 20 weeks of benefits. Okay, now an individual's benefit year cannot have ended prior to 5/17 in order for you to qualify for the additional 20 weeks. Okay, in order for you to qualify for that, your base period, remember we had talked earlier about your base period, which is the amount of wages that you had earned that lets us know what you qualify for unemployment benefits. You have to meet the 1.5 base requirement, which means that if you add up all the wages on the base period, right, they have to be equal to or greater than your highest quarter times 1.5. Okay, normally the system does that automatically when you are going to be eligible to receive EB benefits, and we will let you know by mail that you're requalified for EB. And if you didn't, it will give you an explanation why you did not qualify, right? The majority of the time, it's because you did not meet the 1.5 base period requirement, okay, if you did not receive the additional 20 weeks, okay? But again, the letter that you receive from us will definitely explain to you why that is, okay? Okay, so for individuals that did not qualify for regular unemployment benefits, that were maybe doing more of, they were self-employed, the state, the Fed actually approved the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which is, it provides those individuals with up to 39 weeks of federally funded unemployment benefits. So if you did not work, you had little to no wages that does not make you eligible to receive regular unemployment benefits, you can file for PUA. Filing for PUA benefits is the same thing as filing for unemployment. You would still go through our website. You will still click on the first icon where it says file for unemployment benefits, regular and PUA. But once you click on PUA, it'll take you to a different portal. You will answer the same questions with regards to logging in and creating a user account. You will answer the questions. The only difference is that for that, you will need to provide verification of income. You may need to supply us with some tax forms, either your 1090 or your 1099s, to show what type of income you've had, something that establishes that you are monetarily ineligible to receive regular unemployment benefits. Okay, so the PUA assistance, although it is part of an unemployment benefit, it is separate. Okay, the PUA is more federally backed as opposed to regular UI that's state backed. Okay. Okay, so like I had mentioned earlier, part of the eligibility process is that one, you have to meet the monetary threshold in order for you to receive unemployment benefits. The other is for you to make yourself marketable for employment. And one of the things that you have to do if you file for unemployment benefits, for regular unemployment benefits, is that you have to register with Illinois JobLink. Okay. When you file your claim, you are given a username. That username will allow you to have access to the system. You will enter your username. You will enter your social security number the first time that you file or that you log into the website. Once you log in, the system will ask you to create a new password. Once you create that password, you are going to send into you're going to be logged in, and it's going to ask you, what would you like to do? And you're going to click on create a job seeker account. Once you click the job seeker account, it's going to ask you a series of questions, right? It's going to ask you to create a resume, right? And you're going to create a resume, and you're going to enter what type of job you're seeking. Okay, so if you worked in manufacturing, you're going to put manufacturing because that's the type of work that you want the system to look for you, right? If you wanted to do something else outside of what you last did, you would enter the name of the job that you're seeking on that space. Okay, the next thing that you would do is create a resume title. So that your resume is distinguished and it says what type of work you have or what experience that you have. If you have a resume already, you can upload it and save yourself a lot of time. You will still have to answer a couple of questions, but the majority of it is that if you already have it, you can pretty much cut your requirement time on this to about maybe 10 minutes, so it shouldn't take that long. Okay. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, that you have to be able and available and actively seeking work. Okay, from time to time, the state or the agency may ask you to bring in or to send us proof that you've been looking for work. Okay, one of the features on Illinois JobLink is that you can also document all the job searches that you've done within the system. Okay, so if you were to log into our work search, let's say you're looking for a job, and you go to the job search area, you will click on what type of job are you trying to find. Okay, you will enter a title. You will enter where you're located. Let's say that you want to find something in the North Aurora area. You will enter a North Aurora zip code, and you will tell the system within how many miles you want to find employment. Okay, so let's say, for example, that you enter North Aurora 60542, and then you hit the little search icon, and it'll show what jobs are available using that job title. Okay, this is updated about every 3 to 4 days, so the jobs that are listed on there are constantly being changed. So my suggestion for you is to constantly log on at least twice a week to see what new jobs are showing up in your area. Okay, for the example here, it says that this individual is looking for a forklift operator job. So once you click on the title, it'll show you the job posting for that job. Okay, and once you click on that, it'll tell you what are the description of the jobs, but it'll also keep a record of anything that you click. It'll take it over to a work search record, so it'll save it on there. Okay, it'll show you that you've looked at this job, when did you look at it, and what was the outcome. So if you are still waiting for them to hear back from them, you can type in a waiting outcome or applied, contact, and it'll keep a record of everything that you do on Illinois JobLink. Okay, for if we ask you to bring proof of you looking for work, you could click on the work search, and it'll show you what you did during a specific time frame. I believe we have an example of that on here. Okay, and let's say that you wanted to add your own information. Let's say that you've been doing your work search outside of Illinois JobLink. You can create your own work search by clicking on Create New Work Search Record. Once you click on that, you will click on New Activity, right? So the activity would come up, and you will enter the information that you've done outside of Illinois JobLink. Okay, like if you apply for a job, you click on the information there. What was the job title, company name, address, city, state, and you will give us a couple of notes to let the system know what it is that you did. Okay, if the method of contact was in person, over the phone, email, you would click on that and you will enter it, and it'll be stored on your work search record. Okay, we always ask that you do maintain a work search record. If you do not have access to the system, and if you keep a record on your own, just make sure that you get the important information as to date, what was the name of the employer, what was the method of contact, what job were you seeking, and what was the result. Okay, if you have that, then you can still submit that if you have it on your own type of paper. What I'm showing you on Illinois JobLink is that you just have a different way of recording all your information all in one spot. So you can look for work, keep a record of everything that you've done, okay, and have a resume handy should you need it. So you can do all those things on Illinois JobLink, okay? Even if you do not plan on using Illinois JobLink to look for work, it is still a requirement that you complete the registration, okay? If you complete the registration, at the very end, you will see that you're on your profile on the left-hand side. It will say that you are registered in green. If it says that you are registered in green, that means you have completed the requirement. Okay. If you think that some people tend to make a mistake that they just log in, they don't complete the resume, they don't complete their profile, and it remains in red. If it remains in red and you're trying to certify for the first week of benefits, your benefits will be put on hold until you've completed the registration portion of Illinois JobLink. Okay, so just be mindful of that. We usually tell people you file your claim on a Monday. By Friday of that week, just complete your registration for Illinois JobLink. Okay, for most people it takes them about 10 minutes. Others it may take them a little bit longer. But once you complete it, that's it. You've met the requirement. You do not have to go back in if you do not plan to use the system. If you plan on using the system, sure, it's a great way for you to find employment. Okay. So once you complete that, you've met that requirement. Okay. After that, you just continue to certify every 2 weeks, answer the questions correctly, and you should be receiving your benefits 2 business days after you certify. So if you call on Monday, your benefits should be deposited by Wednesday. Tuesday would be deposited on Thursday. If you call on Wednesday, it would be on a Friday. Okay. Thursday and Friday calls will always be a 2 business days. So, if it's a holiday, it will be delayed a little extra because we're not open, and those don't count as regular business days. So just be mindful if you call on a Thursday, it may not be deposited on a Saturday. It may show up on a Monday. And if you call on a Friday, benefits more than likely will show up on a Tuesday. Okay. Again, my name is Fernando Reyna. I am with the North Aurora office. If you, for whatever reason, have any questions concerning unemployment, I strongly suggest that you send me an email. That's probably the fastest way for you to get a response back from someone. My email is on the sheet there. It's fernando.reyna@illinois.gov. That is probably the fastest way for you to get a response. If I'm pretty quick with responding to emails, unless I'm out of the office, but I usually tend to respond to an email that same day or definitely within 24 hours. So again, I would like to thank everyone for their time. If you have any questions, please feel free to either send something on the message group or send me an email. And that's it, and I wish everyone luck. Susie, thank you for changing the slides. I appreciate it. And we'll just wait a few minutes to see if anybody has any questions.
You're welcome, Fernando. So we'll go ahead and open up for a Q&A session. If anybody has any questions for any of the presenters this morning, go ahead, please type it into the chat box. As you see on the screen, you do have each of our contact information. Again, to get started with the career coaching or career counseling services that I spoke about, there's my direct phone number and email. You have Fernando's phone number and email as well. We've also provided Scott Miller's direct phone number and email too, and then Robin Lavender's contact information if you have questions or would like more information about health insurance through the marketplace. So we'll just wait about 30 more seconds to see if anybody has any questions to be entered into the chat box.
And while we're waiting for questions, this is Ron from the Department of Commerce again, that I just want to emphasize a couple of things. Susie mentioned the ability to get retraining at no cost to you. It's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. That folks can utilize that training grant to become more marketable, to enhance their skill set, perhaps even to improve on the income they had at the previous job at no cost, no payback. This is spectacular. And I'm sure it was mentioned already, but Fernando from the Illinois Department of Employment Security mentioned that one of the requirements for unemployment insurance is to be able, available, and actively looking for work. But if you are in that training program, that approved training program that Susie Pajera talked about earlier, that you do not have to look for work, that you can receive unemployment insurance and go to the training simultaneously without the stress of looking for employment, that is an option.
I also, if I can just briefly mention, there are some other supportive services coming through from the CARES Act or the federal stimulus package that was approved back in March. So for some of the WIOA programs, we are working in partnership with DuPage County for rental assistance for those individuals that are interested in training. You may qualify for rental assistance in addition to some other supportive services and support services dollars that are available again through the federal stimulus. So, you know, as Ron had mentioned, this is a great opportunity to, you know, really seek a new career, especially not knowing when hospitality and the travel industry will be coming back. So again, please reach out to me. You have my email address, you have my phone line. And with that said, we haven't had any questions come in. Scott, Ron, Fernando, do you have any parting words?
Just one last thing, that the webinar is being recorded. So if any of your colleagues could not attend the resource session today, it will be available. We'll forward it to your HR folks. And if they are kind enough to send it to anybody who could not make it, and to the folks that were here that want to revisit some of the things we talked about.
Thanks for attending, everybody.
Thank you to everyone, and good luck.
All right, then we will go ahead and end this session. Again, please reach out to us with any questions that you may have or any assistance that you're in need of. And with that said, best of luck to all of you. Thank you for your time this morning.